Porchplus is an end-to-end property management software, right, that automates all of the property management processes for landlords, for property managers, as well as tenants, right. So from landlords being able to list out their properties for rentals, right, to tenants being able to apply to these properties, right. To tenants then getting onboarded. So for them to get onboarded, they have to of course make payments, right. So they get issued invoices and they get issued receipts, right. For subsequent payments, they get issued automated reminders, right. That also come with these invoices, right, and they make payments on the platform, right? So that means the tenants would have their own mobile apps where they can view their rental information, right? They can also make maintenance requests on the platform, right, against that property, right? To being able to find artisans. So I would just dive right in, right? So this is what the internal dashboard of a landlord currently looks like, right? So this landlord has one unit currently on the platform, right? This is the revenue he has generated so far. So I'm going to just briefly run through the property creation process. So for a landlord, you have to of course create a property on the platform, right? So you enter all of this information. I'm not going to be entering them for the sake of this demo. I will be using an already existing property, right? So I'm going to go to the property I currently have, right? So this is the property I have. These are all the property information. I'm going to go to the unit in this property, right? So this property has just one unit, right? And it goes for 3.5 million for a year. You can see that it's currently occupied, right? So that means there's a tenant that already exists in this property, right? So this is the unit information. This is the unit description, right? These are all the amenities. This is the rental information. This is the base rent like we have talked about. This is the lease start date. This is the lease end date. These are all of the other charges, right? This is the listing. This is when a landlord wants to list out this unit, right? So what we have done differently is for every time a unit wants to go out for listing, right? You don't have to go through the property creation process, right? Like other platform does today, right? All you have to do is just click on the button, and this unit goes out for a listing. Say for example, it's currently vacant, right? So you just do a preview of what the unit does, what the unit is about, and then you publish, right? And then it says unit has been listed, right? That is that. So this is the tenant that is currently occupying this unit, right? These are all of the invoices that are generated or that have been generated on the system, right? So far so good. It's just one invoice that's been generated, right? I'll move on to the maintenance, right? So this is where the all of the maintenance for the platform, is being seen, right? So when a tenant makes request on the mobile app, right, the landlord sees all of the maintenance information here. He can also message the tenant. If he wants to, right? He can also view all of the property insight, right? So he can generate reports, right, based on all of the revenues and then expenses that he has made on the platform, right? You can also set up your profile. Say, for example, you have a separate, your business is separate from your personal information, right? You can set that up here. You can also add your bank accounts, right? The invoices come with account numbers, right? You can set that up here. You can also invite your property manager, right? Say, for example, you're too busy to go through the day-to-day operations, right? So you invite a property manager. Of course, it's going to have like limited access, right? Or you can oversee all of the activities that are done on the system, right? You can approve maintenance requests on the system. All right, so that is what the the Porchplus platform does today from the landlord's perspective. Thank you. Property managers point of view, right? So on the Porchplus platform, as a user, you can have multiple roles, right? So you can be a landlord, you can be a property manager, you can be a renter, and then you can also be a tenant, right? So as a property manager, you also have the ability to be a landlord, right? You have your own property that you currently live in, or you have tenants that currently live in, right? As you as a landlord, right? And then you also manage other landlords' property, right? So for this context, I will be going through a property manager that is also a landlord, right? So I'll just log right in, right? Just give me a few seconds. Yes. So these are the profiles, right? So he's a landlord and then he's also a property manager with one account, right? So I'll just briefly show you the property managers, the landlord's dashboard. You as a landlord, right? This is it. But for this context, I'll be walking you through the property manager's context, right? So I can switch profiles, right? Even while on a current account, right? So this is the property manager's account, right? So as a property manager, you can manage several landlords' properties, right? So several landlords' properties, are then called a portfolio, right? These are portfolios that this property manager currently manages, right? For the context of this demo, right, I assigned this property manager Ngozi Obigwe's portfolio, right? So this property manager is managing Ngozi Obigwe's properties, right? And this is the landlord's dashboard, or this is what the dashboard looks like, right? The sole difference for this from that of the landlord is the ability to switch different portfolios. So even while I'm on a current landlord's portfolio, I can go to another landlord's portfolio and then see his information, right? I'll just keep switching, just so that you see the actual difference of, these properties that this particular landlord manages, right? I mean, so even down to the properties where you can go to the different units of a particular property, right? So these are the units, they're all occupied, right? You can view all of the information, right? But of course, I mean, it has limited access, right? From that of the landlord, right? So as a landlord, you can do a lot more than a property manager, right? So a property manager has limited access. Okay. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So for this context, so yes, you would see that the landlord, the property manager, cannot do all of the setup that the landlord can do. Right? He cannot set up a bank account. Right. He cannot also set up a business profile. Right. But he can view all of the properties in the property. He can invite a tenant. Right. He can exit a tenant as well. Right? He can list the units that are available for rentals. Right. He can also approve maintenance requests, right? So, say for example, the tenant makes a request on the mobile app, right? And the landlord has given, the property manager like full autonomy, to approve maintenance requests, right? Yeah, so the property manager can approve this maintenance request, right? But there are some landlords, that would not want, or that would want to be in the loop of everything, right? I mean, they want to, give final approval, for every maintenance that is done on his property, right? So the landlord then approves, like, so the property manager then requests for like approval, right? And then the landlord approves, before that maintenance is actually completed, right? So the property manager can also send messages to the tenants. He can also view the insights. I mean, he can also generate reports, right? For the landlord, right? Yeah. So that is what the the Porchplus platform does today. I will be walking you through the tenant point of view next. Thank you. We'll be running through the tenant interface, right, on the mobile app. I'm currently using an emulator for this purpose, right? So I'm going to log into the tenant interface, right? Just give me a few seconds. Okay, right. So this is what we currently have for the tenant's dashboard on the mobile app, right? So he can fund his wallet, right? So for example, he wants to find artisans, right, on the mobile app, and then he wants to make payments, to them, right? He can also pay bills, right, with the whatever amount is in his wallet, right? He can just click on this button to generate an account number, right? He can view the details of his units, right? So these are the details. This is his rental period, right? When it's going to when it started and then when it's ending, right? He has 341 days left for that period, right? He can also renew his rent. He can also view the property manager's information. So, for example, he wants to reach out, concerning a certain issue, right? He can he can send a message, right? He can send any message to the property manager, right? And then it would be resolved, right? So you can see that the status is currently active. You can see his units, you can see his building, you can see his address, right? You can also pay bills on the platform, right? So moving on, you can also request maintenance on that particular unit that you're currently occupying, right? So you select whatever category that you want an issue to be fixed, right? You select a subcategory, you enter a bit of context, and then you submit, right? So the property manager then gets a notification on his end, right? And then he approves if he has a full autonomy, or that he requests a final approval from the landlord, right? He can also see all of the transactions, right, made on the platform, right? He can also download the receipts if you want, right? Yeah, so that is that. So you can also set up your profile, right? You can edit your information if you want. You can also delete your account, right? So that's about. You can also reach out to us, of course, on the web, right? Which would redirect to the web. So you also want to know that most of the web experiences, I mean, we're still trying to move them to the mobile app, right? So that is that for the tenant interface, right? You can also search for properties, right? I mean, say for example, you want to move on to your next say for example, you got a new job and you want to move to a location, right? You can also search properties, right? You can also activate tenancy, right? You can also activate your tenancy for that new unit that you want to go into, right? So you enter whatever code that was sent to you by Porchplus, right? And then you activate the tenancy. You can also invite a landlord to the platform, right? So that is that about the Porchplus's platform. So as a renter, you want to rent a unit, or you want to rent a property on the Porchplus platform. So you come here, and then you're able to see the different units and the different properties that are available for rental, right? So you also want to know that these properties, or these units, right, were listed by landlords and property managers, right? So what we have done differently is, for other platforms, right, agents can go and list different list properties, right, and then put different amounts, right? So two agents can go and list the same properties with different amounts, right? I mean, so that cannot happen on Porchplus platform today, right? So only an approved landlord and an approved property manager can list a unit on the Porchplus platform today, right? So I'm going to dive right into the a particular unit. Say for example, I want to rent, right? This was the same unit that I listed out on when I was doing the demo for the landlord, right? So these are the information of this particular unit, right? So these are the pictures. I can click here to view more pictures for this particular unit, right? So if I yes, so that's that. Yeah, so it's a two-bedroom unit. This is the property ID. This is the location. It has two bathrooms. This is the measurement. It's currently vacant, of course, right? So this is the property description, right? These are property details, right? This was when it was listed. Today being August 16th, right? These are the all of the information. These are the amenities, right? This is the location on the map, right? So you can also view other listings. Say, for example, you don't like that current unit, right? What we have done differently is for the other charges, right? You're able to see everything at a glance, right? As opposed to them being modeled up in the property description, right? Yeah, so you're able to see all of the charges, right? You can contact agents, right? So of course, before you can see this information, you have to have a purchase. You have to log in to view this information. So if you are not logged in, you cannot see this information. You have to create an account and then log in, right? You can also send us a chat via WhatsApp, right? So you also want to note that in the coming future, we will be introducing virtual tours, 3D virtual tours, where tenant renters can view properties in 3Ds, right? And then they can also apply to these particular units. So we're going to be introducing an application process, LinkedIn standard, right? I mean, where you have to fill in a couple of details, right? Send the required documents for application, whatever application process. We introduce, right? Of course, you have to follow that. To then be approved by the landlord, right? You can also share these property information, right? Say for example, you don't want to rent it, you want to give it to your friend, right? You can share on WhatsApp, you can share on Facebook, whatever. Excuse me, whatever means you want to share this particular information, right? You also want to say, for example, you're not able to find a particular unit that you're looking for, right? You can make a request on the platform, right? So making a request, you select your location, select what area, you select what the unit type, right? You can put in your budget, whatever budget, right? Your moving date also, right? And extra information just in case, right? And then you submit, and then we would reach out to you to once we find your specifics, right? In the coming future, we would include, being able to buy properties, right? So we would be able to list out properties for sale, right? And then you can reach out to us, by whatever means, right? So that is the renter's point of view.